Afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Beacon World League. We are delighted to see you joining us again for week 2 of our competition where, by the end of today, we really will have an idea of what the final standings are likely to look like. 4 out of 5 rounds will be finished by the end of it. And to take you through all of the action today, I am, of course, Nualaic. Joining me as last week is Twiggy. And here as our guest analyst for the league, we are delighted to have Melio to join us. Melio, how are you feeling about being here and enjoying talking about matches?
Yeah, I'm really happy. The matches are interesting and very big players. I wanted to see some matches, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll get into talking a little bit about the players in the second. Twiggy is busy doing stage camera work. Really just playing with the space. What? Very impressive.
Right. I was. No. Look, I'm an actor at heart, you know.
Yeah, so. No, we love that. Yeah. It's great. Right, we should talk a little bit of what's going on. Obviously, we had 2 rounds last week, and so we do have standings. We have results to look at here as 2 matches have taken place. Each player will play 2 more, so looking down at Div 2, there's maybe no massive surprise. The Tween is sitting at the top, possibly the only surprise that he hasn't picked up the full 24 points available to him, sitting only on 23. But Melio, there's a player sitting who looking pretty solid. Manta down in 11th place is someone that I want to talk about a little bit, just as maybe a little bit of an unknown and still doing very well in a very stacked field.
Yeah, I'm surprised about Manta because I don't know him, and 11 is a good place. Just being the top 32 is good, to be honest. So yeah, new player, and that's always good. And I wanted to talk about Limpan because I know there is a good player, but I didn't expect him to be this high on the leaderboard. So yeah, surprise, and that's cool.
Yeah, Limpan sitting in 3rd at the moment and picked up a win in his second match last week with 3 match records as well. And those points, you can kind of already see, Twiggy, they are starting to stack up in various places on the leaderboard. They are making those differences. And for Limpan, it has kind of, pushed him level with Akros and maybe passed him this week.
Yeah, for sure. A place in which it's even more important at the moment is that top 2. You've got the difference maker being those match records between Tween and Evon. They're not going to face each other until next week, the final match for them. So it's so important that if they're going to keep winning, they manage to get as many match records as possible, because right now, 2 points between them. Let's see how that develops over the course of these games today.
Yeah, and for those maybe a little bit less familiar with this format, it is, of course, kind of a single round robin. 16 players in the division. Every player will play every other player once and once only. So looking at those battles like Tween and Evon, that happening in the last round is going to be so exciting. Limpan and Akros currently sitting tied for 3rd place, 14 points apiece. They play each other in our second match on stream today as well. And if you look down the board as well, Broly, Ixawai, lots of these matches still to take place. Lots of these head-to-heads still to happen. Is there any particular matchup that you're looking forward to still, Melio?
If I wanted to say, I want to see the Limpan Across. It's very interesting, to be honest. So for the 3rd place, it will be the best.
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting, and with only 1 round left after that as well, as it happens in round 4, going to be super fun. But I think it's time we move on and talk a little bit about, the main event, the big show, Div 1, where things are pretty spicy after week 1. Bit of a race up at the top there at the moment, Twiggy. Megorian sitting in 4th place, and then the top 3, Elcon, Epos, and Bozbez, 3 points separating them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for everybody else other than Elcon, Epos, and Bozbez, things are starting to get a little scary, because with a 4-point difference between 4th and 3rd, a lot of those points, a lot of those places where prize money is available are slipping away from them very quickly. You're now just fighting for 4th place if you're staying down in that area by the end of today's action. So it's very important that if you are in that mid-table, you get the points today and manage to be within reaching distance of the top 3.
And speaking of mid-table, there is still something to play for. Players in the top 10 will qualify for Division 1 of Beacon World League Season 2, whenever that does go ahead and happen. But the bottom 6 will not be guaranteed their spots back. And at the moment, Melio, Barbos, Azox, Richie, there's a lot of guys sitting pretty close to that cutoff point. Some of them who we maybe didn't expect to see down here.
Yeah, these guys are amazing. So surprised to see that they are not high on the leaderboard, but it shows the level is high on the game, because Barbos not on the top 6-5. It's surprising. So yeah, expecting more from them, I guess, on the previous match. So let's see what's going on.
And we should take the time, I think, to note here as well that NRG is unfortunately not able to continue playing in Div 1. And the result is that his one fastest lap taken away from him, given to Push Tito Paku, who had the second fastest match record in that match. And other than that, everyone will just be getting one extra space, a little bit of a free spot in some of those matches still to come. Doesn't affect anyone differently, so just to keep that in everyone's minds, just to let everyone know that that's how that has been handled, and we will go on and see how things shake out from there. But for now, I do want to talk a little bit about the pick bans as they happened as well last week, because we did get a couple of surprises, I think. At least I did, anyway. Meltdown, a map with quite a lot of ice on it, Melio, was getting picked very early on in a lot of the matches. And the result of that in this reverse cup format is that it gets played a second time. As we rotate back around through the 4 maps that are played in the match, we see Meltdown. So Meltdown, despite being a tricky map with a tricky end, was still being used as a decider in a lot of matches.
I think she's played because they are playing it since the beginning of the seeding. So the map is difficult, so they have to play more and more the map, and they are all feeling good now on this map. So they play it because they have trained a lot the map. I guess it's the reason why.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Twiggy, on the other hand, Perseverance getting banned away quite a lot at the moment.
Yeah, I do think it's a testament to the quality of the players in that it's not a certain surface or a certain style of play that is the problem when it comes to being able to compete against some of the other players in the league. It's more about just how well have we practiced it, how well are we going to be able to play on these ones. The ones that haven't been out for as long, they don't want to risk playing against because there might be players that are naturally just better on certain kinds of tracks, whereas if you practice it enough, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to our partners over at eCircuit Mania as well, providing us with all of these stats for the tournament as well. You can see their logo down in the bottom, and you can visit there to keep an eye on what's going on across the tournament as well. Because it is interesting, you know, I mentioned those bans there. We've mentioned that Perseverance is getting a decent amount of bans. Galafu also getting plenty. Amelio, Ruby hasn't picked up a single ban yet. Nobody is kind of upset enough about that map to ban it away, which kind of what you're saying about Meltdown as well is it's been there since seeding. Players have practiced a lot, but Ruby is one of the new maps, and despite that, players seem happy with it.
I played the map. I was just playing the map before we got to work, and the map is pretty cool. So I just guess all people like the map, so it's normal to see the maps. And I'm expecting to see BuzzBuzz on this one because it seems fast.
Yeah, it definitely looks quick on it, but, you know, I mean, so does EPOS, so does Ender, so to a degree does Elcon. This is the problem with Div 1 in the Beacon World League, is that kind of everyone's fast when you get down to it.
There is a match that is very interesting, like BuzzBuzz, Pustito Paco, Elcon, and Bix.
Yep.
This match.
That's our 4th match on stream today, and that is one that it is worth sticking around for, because that one is going to be messy, I think, as well. Binks in particular, you know, sitting currently 5th in Division 1, maybe a little bit below where we might have expected him to be, but I think also was pretty openly a little bit less practiced than some of the other players coming into week 1. Twiggy was kind of saying that he was looking to improve as time went on.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a surprise to start off with, but you kind of got the idea across the play day that it was just a lack of kind of practice. There were a lot of crashes that really weren't, you know, massive issues. It was just clipping a wall here and there, just the kind of thing that you're going to iron out with time. So I hope that we're going to see something a little better from Binks today and next week.
Yeah, I mean, Melio, you have obviously competitive experience playing across tournaments and things. Yeah. It's been really interesting hearing some of the players talk about it. We got Ender on for the interview last week, and he was like, next week, it's going to be my week. I have a week to practice, and so it's going to be great. And there was the concept, obviously, that all of the other players get that week to practice. But for some players that week, it's going to matter more, right?
Yeah, it's the second week, so they are going in the leaderboard. They see where they are, and the match are coming. They know who they play, so you know, like I want to win this match because it's a big match. I want to prove that I'm the best player. So yeah, pretty big matches, and the players want to win. Everyone wants to win. So Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the joy of Trackmania as well at this level, is that everyone knows everyone else, right?
Yeah.
There's every match has the potential to be a little bit of a grudge match, because at some point in the recent past, these guys will have faced each other in competition, and they'll want to be winning. I mean, especially goes for the top of Division 1. Epos and Bozbez have definitely faced off against each other a number of times, and Twiggy, as you've mentioned, that is a clash that is waiting to happen, like the Div 2 kind of top of table clash for next Saturday, for the end of our tournament.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Obviously, there's the kind of rivalry of them being on the same team, same country, everything like that. There's a lot of stakes on the line in terms of personal kind of vendetta things. And then obviously 1 point separating them at the moment. We'll see how that develops by the end of today, but it could be a really exciting matchup no matter what.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah, we should have a lot of fun with those matches, but for now, I think it's time that we take a look at our first match of the day. We head to Div 2 for this one. Ikewolf, Ixawai, Limpan, and Jaakaah for this. And Melio, you said you were excited, maybe interested in how Limpan does. How are you feeling about him in this match?
On this match, expecting to see Jaakaah a little bit beyond the other, but yeah, probably like Limpan first or Ikewolf. The three players like Ixawai, Ikewolf or Limpan have the same pace, so it will be a very interesting match. I don't know who can win this match, so let's just see who is the better. Who's better in this match.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fair enough, I think, to say, oh, it's going to be a tough time for Jaakaah, but Twiggy, I've been burned by that as well. Melio, I've been burned by that in the past. Saying that a couple of times last week, and Jaakaah had a great performance. Honestly, looked really solid.
Precisely. I mean, Jaakaah was up against very difficult opponents and is now mid-table still. So, considering 28th seeding position, I have been surprised, and I'm welcome to be more surprised here by Jaakaah. I'm interested to see how that one's going to go.
Yeah, everyone can win this match.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Jaakaah has a second place and a third place after week 1, and that third place was in a match with a Crows, Tween, and Nako, right? Like, I mean, he's done a very good job of beating the opponents that he's capable of beating up in front of him, and that really is all you can do. At the moment, though, Limpan is definitely, I think, a decent player to keep an eye on, too, because Limpan, one of the few players still may be in a position to mount an attack on the top of the leaderboard on Tween and Evon. And that really does come, Twiggy, with a big win here and picking up a few of those match records as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've said it so many times, we can say it as many more as we want until the cows come home. This week is just so important because it sets you up for the last week. It sets you up. Your expectations for the end of the season are going to be based off of what happens today because you're only within reach of a certain amount of points. So it's so important that the players do so well. Obviously, it's important every single play day, but this one's a lot more informed.
Yeah, and finally, I mean, we've talked a lot about Limpan, we've talked about Jaakaah a lot. Ixawai and Ikewolf are currently sitting 6th and 7th, Melio, in Div 2. They are tied on points as well. They've taken a slightly different route to get there. Ixawai has I'm looking at the wrong points. Ikewolf and Nako are tied on points. Ixawai is 1 point ahead of them, sitting on 12 plus 1 from one match record. Ikewolf has 12 points. And this is a very important match then as a result as well, in terms of separating out at the middle of the table. This is potentially the difference between making it into that top 5 and not making it for these guys.
Exactly, yeah. There is a big gap between 5 and 6, so yeah. They have to win. One of them have to win to go to the top 5. So it will be exciting match to get a gap with your enemy. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Not only gaining points for yourself, but taking points away from someone close to you in the standings, right? Very important in all of these styles of competition. And I think as we do approach a little bit closer to match time, Melio, you've already kind of given us a prediction. You reckon it is going to be Limpan to win it. Any predictions then on the Ixawai Ikewolf battle? Do you want to try and say one of them's going to edge out it, or is Jaakaah going to be the player to sneak into a second place?
Second place, I will say Ikewolf.
Okay. Yeah.
Ikewolf, Ixawai and Jaakaah. I keep like this.
All right, Twiggy, how are you feeling about that? I mean, it feels like a safe prediction that Melio's gone for there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's very safe.
Keeping it safe.
That's very safe. I'm going to stick with Limpan, obviously, as first there, but I want Jaakaah to get a second here. I want the continuation of this kind of seeding disapproval here, so I would like to see Jaakaah there. I'm not going to say for sure that he's going to get it. I'm not that confident about that, but I think it would be cool.
Yeah, it would be a ton of fun, and I'm going to say that I disagree with both of you. Jack is going to win this match. It's just that easy.
Let's go.
I can't believe the disrespect
good,
that I've seen on this desk is crazy to me.
Oh yeah,
Just, I've just been stalling for time. I do think Limpan's going to go because, hey, we're ready to dive on into the pick ban for this, our first match of the week. Ixawai with the ban. What's he going to be taking away from this one? We've seen Perseverance taken off the table a decent amount. Galafu, always a popular option as well. Amelio, there it is. Perseverance taken away one more time.
Yeah, not surprising after what we've seen last week, and I feel like that's just going to be the way it is for the rest of it. If they haven't kind of got it good enough that they want to pick it by this week, it's not going to be any different.
Yeah, that's Ruby picked first.
Yeah,
Melio, you were saying you like the match.
They love the map, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think back to last week, and I'm not sure if was Ruby actually being picked very early a lot of the time. I feel like it was kind of Meltdown, maybe Galafu were the two maps that were getting picked a little bit earlier. So a little bit unusual.
I'm not surprised about Ikewolf taking a map where there is ice too. You will be good on this map for sure.
Yeah, makes sense, and it's going to be fun to watch. We do see Meltdown still picked nice and early, as you say. Miata third, and Galafu as our fourth pick, and not going to be seeing a huge amount of that map this time around then as a result. Anything changed there for either of you, Twiggy, Melio? I mean, in terms of how you're feeling about the match, still pretty similar, yeah?
Yeah, it's still pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is pretty
surprises.
standard. Yeah.
Maybe worth noting that Ixawai did manage to pick up the ban there, because we kind of touched on Limpan is sitting third overall in Div 2 at the moment, but Ixawai with the better combined PBs coming into week 2.
Yeah, actually, that's a massive kind of boon for him as well, because, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter if everybody wants to ban Perseverance in the end, but at the same time, it's a nice thing to have. And look, if he had a more kind of out there ban, I think it would make more of a difference. Maybe not with this one.
Yeah, exactly. If you were coming in and being like, I'm going to be the first player to ban Ruby in the competition, and that had been the big thing. But no, it is, as you say, Perseverance ban, and it does feel a little bit like maybe you could have just let one of the other players do it. There wasn't the need to publicize your PBs for that one. We'll hang on and see. For that, we'll see how this match does shake out. For now, I will check with production. Production, are we ready to go to casters? Did we remember to get casters for today?
It's always chalked when you have to ask production if we're ready to go.
This is
communication, guys.
Twiggy, I personally enjoy it because I get to call Thomas
making him squirm. Yeah, exactly.
Thomas makes life difficult for me on the broadcast quite a lot of the time.
So
it's only fair that I get my digs in the other direction as well. He's currently shouting abuse in my ear. You can hear that, but
that was horrifying.
Can't. Honestly, just awful, incredibly mean.
Thank the Lord they can't, because they would be horrified by the kind of things that this man says to us.
Oh, he's zooming in on my face now in revenge. This is strange. Just
wait, we'll join you in solidarity. Solidarity,
Melio, welcome to the broadcast. We're so happy to have you.
He's done it
here on the desk.
That's good. You know what?
There we go. Cool.
I can zoom.
Yeah,
he'll do it for you. Don't worry.
Off the rails for this one, as we are waiting to get into our first match of the day, Div 2, and we are ready now to head on over to the casters. And you may recognize one of them because it's me, and I'm going to be joined by Boney for this first match.
Yeah,
that's right. It's me. It's the other me, not that me. Me, not you. Me. Yeah. There you go. It's me. Hi.
Right.
No, it's me.
We've worked it out.
There you go.
Yeah, things got unhinged there at the end there. I'm glad my head is back to a normal size. And Boney, I am looking forward to getting into the action for this one. It has been a whole week since I've got to seen anyone drive these tracks, since I've seen the action from Beacon World League. And it genuinely, day 2 here is, I think, in some ways for me, the most exciting day, just because there's so much action to come and it's going to be so relevant to how the table finally settles down.
Definitely. I think where week 1 very much gave us a good threshold, a benchmark of where we can expect these players to end up. Now that everybody has had a flavor, a bit of a taste of, okay, this is what everybody is capable of, being able to see the weak points in their own gameplay at the same time as well. I'm expecting just, fully improved players, 2.0 versions of each and every one of these competitors. And I mean, right now we've got players with Ikewolf, Ixawai, Limpan, and Jaakaah who are quite strewn around our top 16 at the moment. So everybody has something to play for, whether it's going for first place and trying to make their way up there in the case of Limpan. But at the same time, Jaakaah in 9th place, very much wanting to get into that top 8, right? Looking for this perhaps being their time to shine. And I mean, I'm rooting for Jaakaah. I mean, my heart is definitely for him. Though I'm curious to see Ixawai perhaps be the one to do it as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can manage to deny Limpan any of those fastest lap records as well, those match records across it. Limpan currently has 4 to his name, but really needs to pick up a few in this match, because as we know, Boney, the top 2 players in Division 2 will get a promotion to Div 1 automatically for Beacon World League Season 2. Limpan sitting in 3rd, look, just needs those match records. That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, I mean, those points are simply too valuable to just leave on the table right there. Even if you may not be having the match that you're looking for, it's always important to keep an eye out on, driving your best game and perhaps letting the pressure not get too much to you. Jaakaah, unfortunately, the first one to falter in our opening match for today. So we're left with a bit of a three-way fight between Limpan, Ixawai, and Ikewolf, with Limpan having a not too big of a lead. Ixawai able to cut in between right there, but it is very much neck and neck. And Ikewolf at the moment, all he can do is really watch on.
Yeah, hoping for a mistake maybe from one of the cars in front. Outside dirt's always a good place for those, but will be survived by all 3 players up near the top, getting close to the end of the track now. Limpan seems to have the slightest of edges. Ixawai just behind, but maybe a little bit more speed, a wider line through the final turns, as Ixawai is gaining a slight amount. Very, very small difference between the two. But it will be Limpan to the line first, and a solid round win to kick things off. 111.138. It's not the fastest time that we've ever seen on the track, but it's good enough.
Definitely just giving everybody, a good, nice warm up, right? The track's still cold and everything. These wheels need to get warmed up. It's round number 1. We're just getting things kicked off and already having a nice 3-way fight at the front. I think that's only a sign of good things to come as round 2 is underway once again. When it comes to Ruby as well, that final part with the sausage block, usually that is the place where players tend to falter, right? The pressure maybe gets to them a tiny bit too much, and a little bit of an awkward landing ends up in losing speed, allowing another one to overtake. So even right down to the wire, this track very much provides that sense of, but couldn't they? Even if it seems like it's all out. Limpan this time, the one out. So it is Jaakaah looking from behind us. Ikewolf actually takes the fight at Ixawai, who really wants that round win to come in.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe we just see the reverse table. Jaakaah at the top of this round, Ixawai and Ikewolf just behind. At the moment, Jaakaah is staying in touch. That's an awkward entry into that dirt, maybe having to release a little bit on the uphill just to avoid sliding directly into the barrier. And Ixawai and Ikewolf will still sit comfortably then, 1 and 2. Ixawai with the slight lead this time around. Limpan nowhere to be seen, a 2.5 seconds behind. Could still make a comeback if there's a big mistake here at the end, but I think we're running out of places for it. Ixawai looks to have got the job done, will cross the line in first place, and Ikewolf will settle for second.
There you go. Now 111.11. I mean, that's pretty much on the dot. If only that thousandths of a second could have been a 1 as well. But a 7, I suppose, is close enough. You squint your eyes. It seems like it's a 1, so we just get the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And I mean, I guess that's the name of the game,
turn
right?
down the bit rate. Turn down the bit rate on stream. Exactly. Nobody will be able to read anything. It'll be perfect.
Exactly. At the same time, quite close to our division record as well, right? A 110.5, 2/10 away from set by Broly, by the way, who also holds the world record at the moment. So not too surprising, but at the same time, seeing the world record to be part of a Div 2 player as well, considering it's Div 1 or faster. It doesn't take away the fact that Div 2 players still have the pace, have the speed, and perhaps weren't as tight as they could have been. I think Tween and Avon, just to name some players that are currently a number 1 and 2, to not be fighting it. But at the same time, I feel the same about Limpan, Ikewolf, and Ixawai. Also players that definitely could have found their way in Div 1, but for now, battling their way in Div 2, and has been a beautiful battle so far throughout this entire match. I mean, I've hardly noted on it, but look at this conga line of players just making their way through.
Yeah, it's been close, and it's closer again this round. Limpan does lead the way, but Ikewolf and Ixawai are swapping backwards and forwards, wheel to wheel, round this final couple of turns. Ikewolf has the barest of edges, the paint on the nose of the car, and Limpan has found a slowdown along the way, and now this is a battle for first place. Ixawai takes it at the line, 49 thousandths of a second. Ikewolf in second, and Limpan, out of nowhere, drops to third.
Well, it's really that last part right there, because of Ruby being very much a track where you're negotiating these gears, right? Swifting between third and fourth pretty much the entire way through, and especially towards that final part, going over the grass in third gear, having to head into that. Well, depending on the camera angle you hold, if you play Cam 2, it's a pretty blind one onto that sausage. Yeah, it's very easy to simply lose your not your wheeling, but your footing, right, if you will. Maybe wheeling sounds kind of weird. I'm not going to go with that anymore. We'll keep that. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it. Either way,
yeah.
it is the very much that decision making point right there. This turn, though, I will say, every single time one player has fallen behind right there. This time it is Jaakaah, but no one seemingly being able to get a flawless run through outside of, I think, Ixawai, pretty much the only one who's been able to do it quite consistently.
Yeah, Ixawai's looked very solid so far, but with that said, is still sitting on 85, is on 96, is looking very solid. I'm just blind. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
Limpan is putting up a fight at the front this time around, but we saw it all go wrong for Limpan just around this part of the track last time around. Hit with a slowdown, going into the water. Looks better this time around, but not enough to catch back up to Ixawai, who holds on first, might hold first, to the line. Nothing between them. 21 thousandths, but Ixawai will drop no points.
No points dropped, keeping it solid at 96 and picking up the match record as well. I mean, that is a good result if I've ever seen one to get your stamp of approval on the match and saying like, yeah, I can take you guys. What about it? I didn't have to pick any of these matches. I just told you to not play Perseverance. This map that apparently is in a map but we'll never ever see you play because I don't know.
Yeah. Has been banned in 25% of matches so far, and well, that was before we just saw it banned there, and in who knows how many other of the Div 2 matches that are starting at the same time. But a strong first map. Ruby working out very, very nicely for Ixawai there. 96 points leaving it. It's not quite flawless, but it's almost as close to it as you can hope to get in this format.
Definitely, and I mean 4 points lost, and at the same time, being able to get that match record as well, securing a 1-pointer. Considering we will come back to this map later on, it is nice to already have that on the board, but at the same time, there is still that worry perhaps of like, ooh, but what if we come back and, I don't know, somehow, wind's been taken out of Ixawai's sails on map number 4, and he needs to rally back into it. Either way, perhaps that's something too far in the future. For now, we will moving on to map number 2, which is going to be Meltdown. We're going to have ourselves some nice, fun, icy shenanigans. That risky finish that has led to some heartbreak in our previous week. Let's see if this time around is any different, or perhaps the ice skates have been oiled up, sharpened down, and ready to tackle this track.
Oh, it's going to be fun. I love Meltdown. I love the crashes at the finish because I guess I'm just to say this like that. I don't know what to tell you, Boney. It's led to some very, very exciting moments so far, for sure, because it's just so tempting to risk it, isn't it? To push a little bit too tight to the inside corner because you can see how close the car in front is, and then players just not quite having the speed as a result of the risks they're taking. Beautiful camera angles as we round the first couple of corners. We're underway on Meltdown.
Yeah, getting their way in. And I mean, this section right here with the reactor boost along with the grass, honestly, it is so hard if you are not playing at the caliber of these players to keep that boost going and at the same time keep your keep the lines straight and narrow. It's so difficult, but these players make it look effortless, as if they've done this a million times, and I'm probably, not far off when I say millions of times. Either way, into the first ice section, it is Ikewolf and Ixawai currently who have to lead, but ice can lead to some differences in terms of position, and Limpan does go in for the attack, looking to perhaps overtake Ikewolf, unfortunately unable to really negotiate that turn right there, so does fall behind to keep the Jaakaah away from third place.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of exactly what we were talking about. That's not the end ice, but it is the earlier ice section, and Limpan does exactly what we were talking about. Goes aggressive on it, trying to catch back up, now entering the final ice in last place, going aggressive one more time. Limpan will take third, but in first. Ikewolf will win. Ixawai missed.
He missed it. It was a great attack from Ikewolf. As you say, right, really wanted to take that inside line, and it paid off for Ikewolf in dividends, whereas Ixawai faltered, right? Just was unable to really negotiate that turn, that drift, and if you do have to respawn there, yeah, you're pretty much guaranteed a 4th position. We've seen players lose out on perhaps staying alive in the match, but this time not so painful, I suppose, for Ixawai, who simply suffers a 10-point deficit, but at the same time still has a solid lead on 86 points. Jaakaah, though, already on 59 on map number 2. Not what you want to see, but Limpan falling behind, always a positive thing if you're driving in 4th and now in 3rd.
Yeah, Limpan's not having a great time of it here on Meltdown. Looked shaky last round, looks shaky in our 2nd round on the map as well. And if Limpan wants to mount a big comeback in this match from, having dropped a little ways behind Ikewolf and Ixawai, well, tied with Ikewolf, we're going to see Meltdown again, I guess is what I'm saying. There goes Ikewolf, he's in the wall, and now sitting a long way back, but Limpan still hasn't even caught up. Should have a little bit more speed than Ikewolf, but I don't think there's enough track left maybe for that difference to be made up without a mistake. Ixawai has the separation. There is daylight between him and Jaakaah. There is much more daylight. There's practically a full week then between Jaakaah and Ikewolf, and Limpan a long way down as well. Just don't miss. That's clean from Ixawai, it's clean from Jaakaah. Ikewolf this time around under no pressure will make it safely, and so will Limpan.
Yeah, big difference this time around between all the players. Just some mistakes along the way in different sections for all 4 of them, except for Ixawai really keeping it cool, calm, collected, and driving their way through. Still Ikewolf, though, keeping that 109.4 match record, making sure that he at least has 1 point on the board. But still, though, it's somewhat tenuous. I'm not 109.4. I think is pretty good. But I don't think it's unbeatable, especially when you have these competitors pushing each other, keeping each other honest. But at the same time, right, figuring out if they can take a risk or not, perhaps, push a bit harder than they're used to during practice just to eke out, a few hundredths of a second. Because really, that's what we're talking about right now, especially when we look at this top 3 at the moment. Limpan, Ixawai, and Jaakaah just milliseconds away from each other.
And Limpan touches. That's tough. It was a much better start from Limpan this time around. It hasn't cost him the world. It's only a couple of tenths, but it is slightly out of the race then for 1st place at the moment. Unless something goes wrong on the ice for anyone here. It's a little bit wide for Jaakaah, but not losing any speed. We'll just lose position on track to Ixawai. Now a couple of tenths down and just trying to hold off Limpan, but that's a beautiful drift from Limpan, getting very deep inside, getting right back on the taillights of Jaakaah as we round the final couple of turns. Can Limpan navigate his way into a 2nd place after what looked like a disastrous mistake? Might even manage to pick up 1st. Ixawai is rounding this corner. Jaakaah on a late attack. Jaakaah across in 3rd. Limpan held on, but only just.
Only just, Mike. That was very much a question of which line really pays off, right? You want to take it in a bit narrower on the upper, as you go up that bend, or if you, make sure you try to get in as tight as possible going into that little hop, skip, and a jump. But yeah, Limpan right there, just beautiful stuff right there to barely get in there, a few hundredths of a second. And with that, only losing 4 points instead of a possible 7. Still, though, 61 points versus 58 between him and Ikewolf. Very, very close when it comes to that 2nd place spot, though. Ixawai has very much, pulled himself away from the competition, though. This round may even up the odds a tiny bit more.
Yeah, that is the thing. 1 4th place is a -10, and that pulls you straight back down to the Wolves. Because, look, there's an Ikewolf. I guess we can call the other 2 Wolves. Listen, there's something there, okay? I don't know what it is just yet. Okay, you're right. There really isn't. Limpan has struggled a couple of times on the ice exit. This time around, I don't think had to release, but did end up taking slightly wider arcs through that chicane than the other 2 drivers, and so drops, for the moment, into 3rd place. But looking to push past Jaakaah at this end.
Yeah, and right there, Limpan also trying to get the outside line to get past. Jaakaah does make it past. It's Ikewolf next on the chopping block, but just not enough space to make it happen. Jaakaah goes too far to the right, fully misses the finish line. Ixawai, very happy with that, says thank you so very much, making me lose 7 instead of 10 points. And Jaakaah feeling the full brunt of the force right there, dropping down to 38 because of that. After 2 maps, that is a very painful result, which there's not a lot of room, right? At some point in time, you're going to hit that wall. You're going to hit that point where you cannot afford to lose any more points. A 2nd place and a 3rd place previously could be all right, are even deadlier, just because of the percentual loss you're taking, I suppose, grows and grows and grows. Obviously, that's the case for every one of these players, but they're outpacing just fine for now. I mean, Ixawai does drop down a bit closer to the rest of the competitors, but even then, top 3 seems to be relatively safe compared to Jaakaah at the moment, who very much has to fight for a chance to stay alive in this match. But he's done it before.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it was looking a little bit better before that -10. If Jaakaah had managed to hold on to a second or third, there would very much have been within touching distance. But that -10 does change the complexion of the match a little bit as we head towards map 3. This does feel like a match, though, Boney, and I completely agree with you because you were kind of hinting towards it. This does feel like a match where someone could stick around on last chance for a little while, because what we've been seeing are very tight races up front, the kind of races that really push players to risk a little bit more than they're comfortable with, leading to a player who otherwise was driving very fast, such as Ixawai, such as Ikewolf, such as Limpan, to crash on out. So even if we do see an early drop to last chance here for Jaakaah, there is a chance that he can hang around until at least one other player gets there.
Yeah, that simply that room for survival is grown just a tiny bit more simply because of that competition between these other 3 players. It's such a different situation compared to, having this clear match leader who just throws everybody under the bus, and usually in cup mode you'd be like, all right, they'd be the first finalist and we're just talking about who comes in second. But that does lead into the situation where, wait a minute, this could still mean that if you are the first one and last chance in this format, there's still that room, there's still that hope, right? It's last chance, a very, very fitting word to indicate that situation.
Yeah, and I mean, here is exactly that kind of error that we were talking about. Ikewolf with an early mistake, as all 4 drivers were neck and neck for the first 15 seconds of the track there. Onto the grass reactor they go. Jaakaah losing a little bit of speed, but with a wider entry into that turn, might be able to get back on top of Limpan right now. Limpan will hold on to second place for the time being. Ixawai, meanwhile, staked to claim to first and doesn't seem particularly interested in letting it up for anyone.
No, and right there on that sausage section as well, that's usually the part where things go wrong, but this time around it's actually the grass right after with Limpan stumbling a tiny bit, making his way into the section. Is going to have to take one of the slower routes right there to stay in the race, though. Ixawai unfazed on the third, keeping his way on first place. Jaakaah actually having a bit of an awkward downhill right there, does fall behind a tiny bit, so does look like Ixawai, as long as he's able to keep the speed into it, a risky finish, make it happen. But no, Jaakaah with a better line goes for the attack, makes it happen with a 1:10.8, takes away first place from Ixawai. Beautiful attack, and just being paid off in dividends right there. No points lost for him.
I do love that for just a brief moment there, the match record was like, Ixawai got the match record in this, and you're like, well, he's in second place. That doesn't seem right, but I don't know enough about how these things work to disprove it, I guess. No, I mean, it has updated now. Shout out to the Circuit Mania guys. I love having those stats over on the side of the screen as well. And you can see 110.8, not a bad time to kick things off here for Jaakaah. That is a time that may not be round winning in every round here, but it's probably going to be respectable.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, we've seen pretty much all the players somewhat not having the best start that they could have, with Ixawai being the fastest one, faltering right at the end. The other players perhaps creating some chaos of their own at the back this time around. Jaakaah being the one, unfortunately, falling victim to that left-hand turn. So Limpan, Ikewolf, and Ixawai, quite some distance between these 3 players at the moment, but Limpan very much looking forward to, getting back on the board. He's been able to show off the pace, same as Ikewolf, but every single time something inconsistent hits them. But look at those lines at the moment. They're driving beautifully, and it's simply Limpan at the moment who just has had that lead the entire way through and just not falters at any point. Ixawai with a great attack on Ikewolf makes it happen. Ikewolf falling behind, but Limpan holding on to first, getting a 1:10.3 there as well. Just shaves off a half second from a previous match record.
Yeah, Jaakaah not particularly close to the 110.8 that gave him success last time around, but you can see that a 110.8 there would still have been good enough to be in the mix. That is a solid enough time, but Limpan has definitely set a new bar for the match. 110.3 is fast, and Ikewolf was right there with him. Ixawai was right there behind as well. Okay, Ikewolf.
I don't know what that was.
And look, last round as well, it was Ikewolf's end that let him down a little bit, kind of slowing a little bit. As shout out to Circuit Mania one more time, by the way. Those match records over on the side we still have yet to visit. Galafu But that is Ixawai, Ikewolf, and Limpan, all with 1 match record each. We said that Limpan probably needs to walk away with a couple of match records from this match to make a challenge on the top 2. Not exactly the situation we're in at the moment, Boney.
No, definitely not. It's very much more a fight for survival well, in the case of Jaakaah specifically, but man, at the same time, it's interesting to see just something that I noticed when looking at these records, that the only one who was able to get fastest time on the map picked by them was Ikewolf. Every other one of those was given to another one of these players. At the moment, Jaakaah, the only one who does not have a record happening, has lost it just now as well, and Limpan actually looking to perhaps improve the ones that he set just now. We'll see what he drives in with a 1:10.36, just 0.03 of a second away from that time. I think even with Ixawai perhaps driving a bit better, that is still a very hard time to beat if that is the benchmark being set down with Limpan when he drives consistent.
Very close to the divisional record, within a 10th with the match record at the moment. Although it is worth noting, you look over at the world record and you say, okay, fair enough, the Div 1 players are Div 1 players for a reason, but there is still time that can be taken out of this map, Maybe getting those extra 0.6 off is unreasonable, but we could see someone drive a Div record in Div 2 here that is kind of 110 low, 110.1, maybe 110 flat.
Yeah, definitely see that. Ooh, a bit awkward for Jaakaah right there, not having the turn happening. But I mean, it just goes from bad to worse. It's one of those situations definitely where I made a mistake. I just gotta really focus down, and it happens again, and your focus is completely gone. I think Jaakaah's like, just throw the towel in the in the ring. I'm fine for now. He's gonna have to drive it out, otherwise that's bigger point loss. But regardless. Yeah, just a very, very tough situation for him to recover from. Ikewolf there having a bit of a mistake as well, but definitely not going to be in any danger of dropping down out of 3rd place. So Limpan, actually the one being able to deal damage to Ixawai if he's able to hold on to this 1st place.
Yeah, but Ixawai's end has looked very, very good. But that comes off the back of risking it aggressively. And this time around, punished for that risk, Ixawai will drop down away from Limpan, maybe even out of 2nd place altogether. We'll hold on and see. Still holds 2nd. And I think, Limpan will feel a little bit hard done by that he forced the mistake out of Ixawai, really made him have to go aggressive and still couldn't even get him further than 2nd place. Didn't manage to get the point loss higher than -4, because that was a determined chase from Limpan on the track, really looking to make the comeback happen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the impact couldn't be bigger in the case of Limpan's side, right? He still is very much middle of the pack when it comes to the scoreboard. Ixawai relatively comfortable in terms of points as well, and Jaakaah on 11 points right now. That is a very, very tough situation, considering we haven't made the rounds just yet. We're going to go to our final map in Galifo. I'm hoping for him that he's able to rally a bit, because only 1st places are going to keep him safe a tiny bit, because any 2nd or 3rd places are going to push him into last chance on this track. This is the auto pick. No one has actively picked this. Jaakaah just had his pick come by in Miata, so bit worried, bit concerned. So, very curious to see if he's able to survive map 4.
Kind of, maybe a little bit of a worry there, in that when it came down to a choice between Miata and Galifu, Jaakaah picked Miata and did not look as comfortable as the other drivers there anyway. So, map 4 may not be kind to Jaakaah. This may be the end of the road, and it would be a relatively quick elimination as well. I mean, while we have talked up Jaakaah and said he's doing a great job in Div 2 after week 1, this would be pretty fast to go out before we even circle back around to the 1st map again.
Yeah, I want to say in general, I don't know how often it's actually happened, but usually we don't see our first elimination.
All 4 players back,
Yeah, we all go all the way back. In this case, we would go back to Ruby. Would be the first time, but at the same time, there's a first time for anything. And I suppose in the case of Jaakaah, he's hoping that he is not going to be the first one to, kick off this streak that we have been going and break it by ending up in 4th place here. So he's going to have to hope to get past his competitors, because Ixawai, Ikewolf, and Limpan have been throwing down quite nicely. I think Ikewolf is probably the one he's targeting the most if he does look to stay alive. There's also been some inconsistency errors on Ike's side.
Yeah, and just taking a look at the scores there at the top, you can see how well Miata went for Limpan, closing back to within, 15 points, 16 points of Ixawai after that map. So feeling pretty good, and feeling pretty good about how things are starting off here, at least. Just a couple of tenths behind Ixawai. Would love to get the overtake made. Jaakaah is sitting in third, and as you said, really does need to pick up one or two of the cars that are sitting in front of him at the moment, but that is going to come from mistakes as Limpan goes with a deeper turn inside there. It may have worked out a little bit, looked to lose traction for half a second, but still okay, sitting behind Ixawai, rounding the final few turns, up into the finish, and Limpan has the speed. Less than a tenth, but Limpan takes first.
That was a great attack right there. I mean, I was already a bit worried. When it comes to that finish in particular, right, you want to make sure you're as centered as possible. Any deviation could lead to you having a bit of an awkward wall ride. You'll make it up. You'll make it into the finish, but it does suffer quite the big time, point loss, time loss is the word I'm looking for, as you could easily drop 2, 3, maybe even 4/10 of a second while still going into the finish. But I don't think that was the case right there. It was simply Limpan having more speed heading into that, being able to overtake Ixawai just by the skin of his teeth. Beautiful attack, and at the same time, not really dealing damage to Ixawai. I mean, that's the tough point about it. It keeps him alive. It puts Ikewolf and Jaakaah in an even worse situation that they were in before. Unfortunately, not going to be able to repeat success right there. Having a little bit of a oopsie, a bit of a yikers, a bit of an unfortunate encounter with a wall.
Look at how close these three are as well. Those 600s now, and well, there'll be more after that as well. Jaakaah cannot hang with the big boys. Ikewolf and Ixawai are cruising out in first place at the moment. Ixawai has the edge, but we've seen this towards the finish last time around as well. Limpan managed to get the snipe at the line. Ikewolf might do it again now, rounding with decent speed onto the off the dirt a little bit earlier as well, but Ixawai still holds first into the finish. Ikewolf is gaining. Ikewolf might catch. Ikewolf doesn't quite, and there's a match record there for Ixawai as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful how Ikewolf just trying to find any piece, any angle that he could perhaps take advantage to overtake, and he was seeming to have a little bit more exit speed out of that last drift into the final stretch, but just too little, too late. Ixawai holds firm, holds fast, and when the dust is settled, it is Jaakaah who finds himself in last place. 2 rounds pass, round number 3 on our hands right now in Galifo, and yeah, I think Ikewolf is the one he's looking at, right? Hoping for some mistake, some error. But Ikewolf at this point in time is doing a phenomenal job keeping Limpan away from that first place, though Limpan is looking for anything that could happen. And with a touch from Jaakaah, that maybe lights out.
Yeah, we've said it though. This is a match where this happens because they are pushing each other at the front, and Ikewolf is pushed into a mistake. With that said, still right behind Jaakaah and carrying more speed at the moment as well. Nearly moving up into third, but just overcooked it a little bit on the drift, shed a little bit too much speed, and for now then Jaakaah holds onto third place. Ixawai just holding off Limpan out in front as well. Limpan was looking so good, was carrying so many points back towards Ixawai, but Ixawai has just immediately turned that back around with one bad round from Limpan. Now well out in the lead again, over 20 points. Can he hold first place this time around? Ixawai has nearly been sniped a couple of times, has nearly been sniped again, but the key word is nearly.
Keeps it in the lines, keeps it tight, cool, calm, collected, and right there, just staying on 59 points, I think is very impressive considering we've had, and I'm going to carry the one right here, 15 rounds of racing, losing 31 points, 41 points, 41 points. There you go. I'm doing math on stream. I told myself I shouldn't. I wouldn't. But here we are. I'm doing it. Regardless, it doesn't take away from the fact any number I name, Ixawai is in a beautiful spot. We've seen some tight races last week as Limpan, unfortunately, does not go up too far to the right. Bit of a pinball situation, but positive for Jaakaah, right? He just needs to make sure he's in last place, and with Limpan right there crashing away, I think anything Jaakaah could hope for is Ikewolf in second place. Very much looking strategically at it, because Ixawai isn't going to let go of this first place. I'll tell you what, he is feeling good, feeling fine, and just cruising alongside him is, well, no one.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Ikewolf and Jaakaah can both afford to drive as safe as they want as long as they stay in front of Limpan. They're both going to be on last chance in the next round anyway, assuming no big mistakes from Ixawai. Although, there is the possibility. I mean, we've seen the end look a little bit shaky from Ixawai. We've seen him nearly get sniped a few times. Ikewolf is maybe a little bit too far away, and it will be another first place for Ixawai. Ikewolf and Jaakaah both on last chance. Limpan loses a third of his remaining points as well, dropping to 23, and Ixawai really has seized control of this match on Galifu.
Yeah, I think where he seemed to falter a tiny bit around Meltdown and Miyata with Galifo, he's done a phenomenal job just retaking the match in his favor. Considering we're going to rotate back now into Ruby as well, where he's only lost 4 points, being able to pick up 3 first places along the way. This may be the place where he's perhaps able to deliver that final blow to his competitors. But at the same time, looking more at the bottom, right, Jaakaah able to survive through Galifo, able to get that rotation in. We haven't seen anyone so far on stream, at least, drop out in map number 4. And again, a situation though where if Ikewolf just makes a mistake at the start, Jaakaah could sneak away with a 3rd place, perhaps even 2nd place if he keeps his composure even longer.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, right? I do think we have to be a little bit nervous for Jaakaah here, and that Ikewolf does currently hold the match record, was looking pretty solid on our first map on Ruby. But with that said, it was solid on pace, maybe not quite as solid on consistency. And this has been a match defined by very tight battles between a lot of our players, but also defined by those battles pushing players into mistakes they would rather not have made. For 2 of the players, those mistakes are just no longer an option, Boney. Jaakaah and Ikewolf have no more second chances. They cannot afford to be crashing out.
Definitely. If pace is never the question, has not been the question for me, at least when it comes to seeing these 4 players drive. It is all about that consistency, and they just need to keep their composure. They just need to keep it as tight as possible for just a bit longer to stay alive in all of this, because that is very much what it's about right now. It's a matter of survival for both Ikewolf and Jaakaah. I'm still rooting for Jaakaah, honestly, but even I realize that it is a far climb to perhaps get in first place, as Ixawai has looked just untouchable on Ruby, and I expect them to do pretty much the same this time around. But I'd like to be surprised at the same time as well.
We all love a surprise, and I did misspeak. I said Ikewolf had the match record here, and that was just wrong, because Ixawai has it, and Ixawai has been looking pretty wonderful. With that said, not looking wonderful this time around, and all of a sudden, this is... I mean, best case scenario, right, for Ikewolf and Jaakaah, if they can overtake Limpan, because it's dragging someone else down into the crab bucket with them. Nobody gets out alive, and they will manage to make their way past Limpan. Ixawai looking like losing 10 points and finally dropping below half of that starting total. And these 2 drivers, Ikewolf and Jaakaah, they should just play it safe now. They have the gap to play with. Doesn't matter where they finish in relation to each other, just that they beat Limpan and Ixawai.
Yeah, I think the only thing that perhaps Ikewolf is looking for right now is a match record. He does have the lead at the moment, and I'm very curious to see if he does have the pace to actually cash it in. Could secure another point for him if he does do so. Though we still have a couple of rounds remaining here. You may as well pick it up if you can. Unfortunately, not fast enough. That 1-11-11 from Ixawai does still stand as Ikewolf drives a 4-4-4. This time around, 1-1-1, 4-4-4. I'm liking the way these times actually add up when it comes to Ruby. I don't know what it is about this track, but it incentivizes or perhaps encourages these clean times.
Yeah, I mean, world record from Brody there, the 5.55. Very pretty. I mean, 9.57. You've kind of got descending odd numbers there. It's close. Ixawai, by the way, is really not enjoying himself back on Ruby, despite currently holding the match record on it with that 111.11. Not having a great time of it here at the start.
No, because of this, once again, Jaakaah and Ikewolf, no worries, no sweat. They know Ixawai is behind by, almost 9 seconds. It would be just devastating if somehow things go so poorly, so bad that they are able to be caught up to by Ixawai. Though at the same time, Limpan, if he's able to hold to that first place, he can deal another great blow to Ixawai. He knows he's on 16 points. He knows he doesn't have a lot of room for error as well, despite he is not on last place. Still though, that match record may be looming, may be lurking, as he does have a solid first place, and Ikewolf and Jaakaah fighting for second, but won't really do anything in the long run.
Yeah, could be a huge round for Limpan. What kind of pace is he on is the question. I personally don't think that this is quite fast enough.
No.
It won't be. 111.465. Very similar to last round in the end, but a very important round for Limpan. Best possible case scenario for him. -0, and Ixawai has just lost 20 across 2 rounds. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's a big swing, and this time around, it was already at the start where things just went wrong. He just, I suppose, needs to get into the groove of things, perhaps. He's seeing the situation, and it perhaps is playing into his mental game, because we know he can drive this quite cleanly. In fact, he's done it. He's proven it already in the past. This time around, though, it's Limpan falling behind into 4th place. So once again, Ikewolf and Jaakaah will probably be quite happy knowing that, okay, I can take it easy. I don't have to worry too much about being knocked out. But at the same time, I would be open, like, just go out. Just go out. All right? we're fighting here. You're on last chance. I'm on last chance. Just go out.
Please, I'm begging you, just let me take 3rd place. That's all I want. But Limpan has decided that maybe he's going to get involved in that action for 4th place as well. Currently sitting in 4th place, 16 points remaining, and definitely getting into a little bit of trouble. Ixawai got to be feeling pretty good about how things are going in this round, at least. Sitting in 1st place, still holds the match record, and so doesn't need to really push that hard to beat himself, as we are running out of opportunities for anyone to take this match record away here on Ruby. With that said, Ixawai is still looking pretty quick on this round. I don't think it's going to be the match record, but it is going to be fast. The best time on our 2nd visit anyway back here, 111.2, and Limpan losing 10 points.
Yeah, 6 points remaining for Limpan. 2nd place, put him into 2. And from that point on, it's pretty much all last chances all the time, with Ixawai pretty much holding all the power. If he is able to secure himself in a position that he seemingly is used to, which is 1st place pretty much most of the time. Though with one more round remaining on Ruby, I'm very curious to see, is this going to be the place where we're going to have that first contender fall out? So far, it's been decided very early on that there is no risk for them. But no such luck this time for Jaakaah, who does find himself in 4th place. Not too far behind, could still take advantage of a mistake, but not having a great opening to his race right now.
Yeah, just losing a lot of speed on the exit from that dirt as well. Losing a couple more tenths to the rest of the field. Really needs someone to make a mistake. And for the sake of the viewers, I hope that it's Limpan or Ixawai, because we want to see more action. It has been delivering in this match so far. And that is Limpan.
There you go.
Gone. I asked for it, they delivered, and I appreciate it.
You're just getting all the gifts today. I mean, you've been naming, you've been asking for these types of situations to occur, and it's seeming like clockwork. It just happens.
Yeah.
You just get
the
what
universe
you
is
ask,
finally giving back. I've suffered enough.
Well, it does mean Jaakaah will stay alive another round. We'll see map number 6, which is going to be Meltdown, going back once again into these a bit of ice, right? Global warming has held back the ice community, I suppose, to infiltrate this map pack. So we'll just have a couple of ice sections coming in. But regardless, where we perhaps were thinking about, we may see one of our players go out during map number 4. Instead, we have all 6 remaining. Sorry, all 4 remaining for map number 6. Numbers, they confuse me.
Yeah, Ixawai is maybe a little bit too far away for us to realistically hope for the quadruple last chance. I think it would be Ixawai coming 4th in 3 rounds in a row, 4 rounds in a row. Yeah. It'd be a lot. It seems unlikely. So Ixawai looking pretty solid and has now confirmed gotten out of Ruby with that match record point intact as well. Heading into Meltdown, has a chance to snipe this away. Currently holding the match record on Galafu as well. This is starting to look pretty secure for Ixawai in terms of picking up a pretty decent point haul today.
Definitely. This currently has 13 points overall across all players. This would shoot him up by quite a bit as well. Obviously, other matches are ongoing, but to pick up a potential, 11 points is the max that he could go up to. 10 at the moment, could go to 11. That is a great result for anyone. And I mean, that's pretty much how we've seen all players at the top be able to get past that 20-point mark by simply being the fastest player. And usually that goes hand in hand with first places, but it doesn't take away that there is always time to gain, and there's always these competitors that even if they are on the cusp of defeat, they could still pick up a point just by driving the fastest. Let's see if Meltdown's going to be the place. Ikewolf currently has it with a 109.2. Quite a fast time. I think it's going to be an uphill battle when it comes to taking away that point away from Ike.
Well, you say that. Ikewolf a little ways behind off the start line. And now dropping to almost a second behind. Hang on. Hang on. Limpan touches. It's not a huge time loss. It's a couple of tenths. It's maybe enough to give Ikewolf a little bit of hope. Just a chance of making the comeback. More than a chance. Gaining quickly. Limpan has now dropped to last chance and could be the first player out after being the last player of the 3 currently on last chance to arrive there.
Yeah, it would be a devastating result, honestly, for Limpan's side. I can imagine where he was in a seemingly comfortable second place, if you will. Right now, he is left to fight out for scraps between Jaakaah and Ikewolf.
All 3 of them are here.
That's just,
oh my God.
Who's going to take it? I don't know who's going to take it.
It comes down to the finish line. Ikewolf going on the inside. Ikewolf slides out. Jaakaah slides out. He's going for the safe finish. Where's Ikewolf? Ikewolf respawn. Jaakaah will get across the line. Ixawai hasn't finished. Ixawai has not finished. Ikewolf, where are you? Where are you? No. No. Ikewolf just needed to finish.
And that was such a situation of, oh no, but I have to go for the risky. He could have gone for the safe.
He could have gone safe.
No.
Oh dear.
Devastating.
Well, I do appreciate that Ixawai decided to just make that even more chaotic by crashing the finish from honestly about 3 seconds ahead of anyone else for really no reason. Could have just gone safe finish as well. Like, whatever happened to Ixawai that round didn't matter as long as he got someone eliminated, I think. So, just very funny. And did manage to get someone eliminated in the end. And now Limpan versus Jaakaah, the battle to keep an eye on. Ixawai has not managed to pick up the match record after whatever happened at the end there of the last track. But definitely something I think he is still targeting.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to have to improve his strategy when it comes to tackling that risky fin if he does want to get that. Last round definitely wasn't a good example of how to approach that. Though at the moment, having that lead, allowing Jaakaah and Limpan to duke it out side by side. Jaakaah, again, being able to stay alive into this 3rd place position, guaranteed 4 points at the moment, and actually having great pace, overtaking Ixawai on the dirt right there, and Limpan hoping for another fiesta perhaps of sorts to get himself in. Oh, he fully misses. He fully misses, and despite him being the one to challenge Ixawai most of the time, being able to keep him away from those first places where unfortunately he was able to not do a lot of damage, he goes out 3rd place, and Jaakaah is left mano-a-mano against Ixawai.
How has this happened? With no disrespect to Jaakaah, brother, what are you doing here?
Everything that could have gone right went right for him, all right? His superpower is luck. His superpower is luck. Simple as that. Can't say otherwise. He has done a phenomenal job staying alive. And, I mean, Ixawai does have to lead, but I don't know. Maybe Jaakaah does something, I don't know. I don't know what he does, but he instills fear into the heart of his competitors, making them fall behind. Perhaps he's able to repeat that success against Ixawai, though. Ixawai's getting further and further away for now, but the ice could always prove to be beneficial.
The ice can always cause problems, or it can create the comeback opportunity. Doesn't seem to have done so here, but we'll get one more opportunity at the finish line, where we've seen Ixawai fail once before. Can Jaakaah manage to sneak on past, stay alive for just a little bit longer, continue this Cinderella run through what has been a very, very tough match? Limpan only taking 3rd, does have a match point though, a match record. This does look like the end, assuming Ixawai can keep it clean. It looks good. Jaakaah not able to catch, will pick up a 2nd place. And a surprising one, Boney. A very surprising one at the end of the day.
That was definitely not the way I saw things go down. And it really goes to show that sometimes, even though Meltdown has been a map that has been picked quite a lot, The eyes can still do
That's
what
exactly
eyes
why
does.
I've said I'm so confused by why we keep seeing it picked so early. Because when you get to the high pressure situation, is that the finish that you want to be going for? I don't think so, but the players apparently do. And well, they're the ones playing the map, so I can't blame them for what they pick. We're going to head back to the analyst desk for now, Boney. That is goodbye to you, and it is hello to Twiggy and Melio, who were just watching from the sidelines. And I don't know, Melio, enjoying what was going on in that match?
Yeah, enjoying and was surprised about Jaakaah.
Yeah.
Bro, he's surviving all the match. It was insane, yeah. Very surprised about Ixawai being so good. Yeah.
I mean, Twiggy, we kind of got to talk about Jaakaah now at some point, right? Like, it's sneaky,
hey, I
just
predicted this.
slowly climbing. Yeah.
I predicted this. I said Jaakaah was coming second in that. I didn't expect it to be last chance first into second there. That was an outcome that I don't know. That's just clutch factor. I mean, in the end, look, if you're consistently doing not above average in rounds, and you go down to last chance first, as long as you're not coming fourth all the time, who cares? You have to come fourth to be knocked out, and Jaakaah has a way of dodging fourth a lot of the time, and especially when it matters. And look, that's the factor you need if you want to stay in for as long as possible. I think we've proven now that Jaakaah just has that kind of, I don't know, something. There's something there. I want to know what he ate for breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah. And, well, it's working out. And that match has kind of thrown the scoreboard into a little bit of chaos here for Division 2 at the start of Week 2 of the competition as well. Results are still coming in. Things aren't finalized just yet. But I do think a key thing to note is that Ixawai has now managed to tie Limpan, Melio. They are both on 23 points after that match.
Yeah, it's insane. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. So 26 points, it's a lot of points. And there is another thing we don't say, but the other match was very close too. Like there is a 4 last chance on the match with Mastruck, on the other match, and another one with 3 last chance. So yeah, the match were really close on the Div 2.
Yeah, very, very close. And well, with that, we are going to be joined by Ixawai for an interview. Ixawai, congratulations on your win in that match. It was it looked comfortable for you and very, very painful for everyone else, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, thank you. No, I mean it was. It looked like the score was not close, but actually in the rounds, I felt like it was quite close. So no, that was good. It was a great match to play.
Was there any point at kind of that area where we've got somebody down into last chance? They're still in last chance. They're still in last chance. They're still in last chance. Now they're second place. There's a 30-point gap, but I'm losing 14 points around if I lose. Was there any point where you were like, this could go quite wrong?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the second rotation on Ruby, I did 2 very dumb crashes, and I was like, all right, no one is out, so I have to, like, don't choke, just go ahead, and it paid off. But yeah, at the end of the second rotation of Ruby, when I saw that no one was out, I was like, okay, if I'm choking, that's gonna be bad. But it was fine.
Yeah. And did you expect to be that good? Like this is your map order, the best map you will play. Like, did you expect to be like this?
Honestly, I knew that I would have the ban, so I knew what I would ban, and I was more practiced than last week, so I was quite confident. But like I know how Ikewolf, how Limpan are good, so I knew it wasn't gonna be easy. But yeah, I was quite confident coming to the match.
Well, Ixawai, congratulations on that win. Things are going to get a little bit tough for you shortly. Your next match of the day up against Nako, Evon, and Manta. How are you feeling about that one after a big win?
We will see. Will depend on the ban, honestly, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Before I let you go then, Ixawai, is there anything else you want to say while we have you here on stream? Anyone you want to shout out or say hello to?
Hello to PCS. Love you guys.
All right, great. Ixawai, thank you once again for joining us. Thank you to everyone who is joining us for these matches. That is our first match for Division 2 out of the way, but there is plenty of action to follow. We're going to go to a quick break, but we'll see you back in just a minute for the action to continue for Division 2 of the Beacon World League.